Ethereum could grow as Bitcoin is going to fall. Historically, Ethereum and Bitcoin have basically been parallel to some extent. We're making an over exaggeration here, but they've basically tracked in the same direction for the last 5 or 6 years. That is very much the truth. If you look at their two, bell curves or their two basically data representations, minus a few key events, they've basically tracked each other in some way. They're definitely not, there's no coefficient, they're not proportional anyway, they're not related really, but they basically track. Now, both are in the upper quadrant of their all-time highs. Bitcoin especially has hit a market capitalization that we've never seen, and it's brought Ethereum up significantly. And I will say a lot of that has come strictly because Bitcoin's success, and that's inherent with any crypto or non-traditional asset class. You're always going to see that. But with Bitcoin facing potentially a drop, which we know pretty much at this point that it's going to happen, we might see it go up a little bit higher, but you're going to see a cost adjustment as the market realizes that certain asset classes are overinvested, in my opinion, but that's the opinion shared by a lot of other organizations. Some of those organizations, I will say, are still buying up in hopes that this price right now is still a better price than the rebound after we see a drop. I do think that we're going to see, and I think the market also thinks that we're going to see a pretty substantial dip in Bitcoin. I can tell you with my own words, with the money in my mouth, I'm waiting for that. So I believe it's strong enough that I'm waiting. I'm losing the opportunity of riding that Bitcoin high just to try to catch it when it drops. And I know you should never time the market, but this is something that most folks are pretty confident is going to happen. It kind of has to happen. And if it doesn't, it poses a very interesting situation for our economy. Now, does that mean that Ethereum is going to drop with it? Now, I think this is where it gets interesting. I think Ethereum is actually kind of where it should be, right? It should be at its proof of stake model around where it stands right now, providing more util value. Now, this is where you really get into the nitty gritty with cryptocurrency. Do you believe in it or do you not? Or do you invest in it because you think you can make money? And those are two radically different things. Do you think decentralized finance and cryptocurrency is good? Do you believe in the value that it adds? Or do you believe in this is an alternative asset class that I can invest in and make some money on, and that's the only reason I do it? Because those are two radical different things. And I think that if you believe in it from a monetary standpoint, what we're going to talk about doesn't really matter, because you can't predict and you can't really guess why you're investing in it, other than you're hoping that everybody else is investing it for the same reason, to make more money. But we're getting to the point where these asset classes are so large that they have to have some utility value. And this is where it's important. And this is where I guess what I'm saying is important, in that Ethereum is starting to provide what it's supposed to provide. And this is like what, Vitalik Buterin has, kind of envisioned for it. And we're getting to that point finally. And what I think is actually going to happen is we're going to start seeing this separation of what could have been almost a coefficient of comparison between Bitcoin and Ethereum. And that while Bitcoin is going to drop here and have a little bit more volatility because it's just at such a large asset valuation, I think we're going to see Ethereum kind of not fall in the same way. Yeah, it's going to track at some level. If people sell out of Bitcoin, they're going to get afraid. They're going to sell some of their Ethereum. But I think because we see we see a diversification in the ownership of Ethereum, or at least what we can see, I think we're going to see a little bit different of movement. And actually, I will go one step further. I have money in Ethereum that I plan on keeping in Ethereum. I'm not going to play the market here. I'm going to stand strong through. And I think a lot of organizations and individual purchasers are doing that. I think the general rumor of the market is that Ethereum is going to make a breakaway. It might not increase like crazy. It may not increase at all, but it's going to hold stability, which provides an interesting place to be in terms of the crypto world. I'm betting personally that that stability, where everything else is going to have a lack of stability, is going to cause a market flush and kind of movement towards Ethereum, and then we're going to see another increase. Again, it's not going to go to $100,000. We're talking about something that's relevant to other asset classes, because I think Ethereum, as it gets closer and closer to this true kind of ideal proof of stake model, it's not going to have the volatility. We don't want the volatility. So I think it provides an interesting question. And I think ultimately you as a consumer, this is where you really get into, do you believe in decentralized finance? Do you believe in cryptocurrency? Do you believe in what Ethereum is doing? If you truly believe in that, you're going to follow the same logic path that the rest of the market and the rest of the, let's say, diversified market, because most of the market doesn't look at cryptocurrency and decentralized finance as the folks that really invest in it. I'm somewhere in the middle. I see the utility value. My risk tolerance is low as an investor, so it's always been hard for me, but it's something that I've been involved with since I was in high school, which was, I think the first time I bought Bitcoin was, 12 years ago. 12 years ago, I think, something like that. I mean, I was buying it before it was something that was popular. And if I had held, I'll be honest with you guys, if I had held the amount of Bitcoin that I had 12 years ago, I would have phone digits amounts of money. But I didn't. And, bygones are bygones. So that's basically the video. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of education. I'm having a hard time with a lot of the content that's coming around it, but you let creators do what they do for clicks, and I'll see you guys in the next video.